Hello my dear students, I am here for the quick recap of your civics for ICSE Class 10 and we are on chapter 3, the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. So students, the Constitution of India provides what? Provides for a Council of Ministers with the Prime Minister as the head of the government to aid and advise the President of India. So let's talk about Prime Minister in short. First, when you talk about his appointment, so his appointment is done by the President. The President invites the leader of the majority party in the Lok Sabha to form government. So the leader of the majority party in the Lok Sabha is the Prime Minister. So the President invites him. The members of the majority party or the coalition elect their leader to be appointed as the Prime Minister. Now suppose if there is a majority party, then the leader of that party, or if there is a coalition, okay, two or more parties have joined together, then their leader, okay, is the Prime Minister. Now when you talk about the position of the Prime Minister, with the backing of the majority in the Lok Sabha, the Prime Minister is the real head of the state. Now, when you talk about power over the cabinet, okay, then he is the leader of the cabinet. He has the power to allocate portfolios and to reshuffle the departments within the Council of Ministers. He has the power to select or dismiss any minister. These are the very two important powers. His powers in over cabinet. Now inside the parliament, let's see how inside the parliament what is the role of Prime Minister. He is the leader of the Lok Sabha. Okay, he is the spokesperson of the government and he is the defender of government policies. Okay, very important points. Now Prime Minister is the leader of the nation. He represents the whole India. He is the ex officio chairman of the Niti Aayog and Atomic Energy Commission. He protects interests of the country in international forums and he maintains diplomatic relations with other countries. These are the 4 points that you should write when you are told to even give a 2-mark answer for why is Prime Minister considered as the leader of the nation. Now when you're talking about the Council of Ministers, the name of the chapter is Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. So Council of Ministers is appointed by the President on the advice of the Prime Minister. So it is appointed by the President, but President cannot directly appoint them. Okay? He has to take the advice of the Prime Minister. Okay, so basically Prime Minister is the one who is indirectly electing them. In case a non-member appointed as a minister, okay, then he or she must be elected or nominated to the parliament within 6 months. Okay, so in case a non-member is appointed as a minister, then he or she must be either elected or nominated to the parliament within the 6 months of appointment in the Council of Ministers. Okay, so Council of Ministers consists of cabinet ministers, ministers of the state and deputy ministers. So let's talk about cabinet ministers in detail. This is the most important. So let's talk about the formation of cabinet ministers. It is the body of senior leaders. Okay, cabinet minister is the body of senior leaders who hold major portfolios, जिनके पास major portfolios होते हैं, and they decide the policies of the government and lead their respective departments. They are the leaders of their respective departments. Talking about the appointment, the President, on the advice of the Prime Minister, appoints the cabinet ministers. Term of the office, the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers remain in office so long as they enjoy the majority support in the Lok Sabha. जब तक लोक सभा में उनकी majority है तब तक वो रहते हैं. Removal, okay, if the Lok Sabha passes a vote of no confidence, No confidence vote has to be passed. Against the Council of Ministers, it has to resign collectively. The whole cabinet has to resign collectively. Okay. Now, oath. The President administers oath of office and secrecy to the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. Now, what about salary and allowances? It is decided by law framed by the Parliament of India. Let's talk about powers and functions of the cabinet. It has administrative powers, legislative powers, financial powers, and emergency powers. Now, individual and collective responsibility of the Council of Members. Okay, so Council of Members have individual as well as collective responsibility. What are they? Let's study. The Council of Ministers is collectively responsible to the Parliament and has to resign if it loses confidence of the Parliament. The President may dismiss any minister on the advice of the Prime Minister, even if he or she may have confidence of the Lok Sabha. Even if he or she has confidence of the Lok Sabha, still the President has to right to dismiss any minister on the advice of Prime Minister. Now, this is very important, students, the difference between Council of Ministers and the Cabinet. Now, the Council of Ministers consists of all the categories of ministers like Cabinet Ministers, Ministers of State and Deputy Ministers. Now, Cabinet Ministers. It consists of only senior most ministers who are holding cabinet portfolios. Okay. Now, here the Council of Ministers is a large body. It has about 60 to 70 ministers. Whereas Cabinet is the innermost circle of the Council of Ministers. It is smaller and more cohesive. Now, the meeting of the Council of Ministers are occasional, whereas the meetings of the Cabinet are regular. While taking important decisions, the Prime Minister may not consult. The Prime Minister may not consult the Council of Ministers. Whereas generally here the Prime Minister generally consults the Cabinet on almost all important issues. The Council of Ministers is an unwieldy body. So in reality it does not advise the President in discharge of his functions. In reality it does not advise the President in discharge of the function. Whereas the Cabinet is the real power center. The real power center is Cabinet. It advises the President in discharge of its functions. So that was all about chapter 3. Do not forget to tap on the bell icon, subscribe to the channel so that you get the notifications of chapter 4. All the best, my dear students, for your upcoming board exams.